Right. Megan, do you think that Crenshaw has a point with his criticism?
Yeah, and I agree with him. And I just want to first and foremost say that Dan Crenshaw is an American hero. He's a Navy SEAL that got his eye blown out, among other things, and was on, Navy SEAL, teams that killed terrorists and did incredible things defending our nation. Also, in regards to what he said about the Capitol, he said, quote, "On Wednesday, the capital of the most powerful nation in the world has ever known was stormed by an angry mob. Americans surely never thought they'd see such a scene. Members of Congress barricaded inside the House chamber, Capitol Police trampled, and 4 Americans dead. A woman was shot near the elevator I use every day to enter the House floor. It was a display, not of patriotism, but of frenzy and anarchy." So that's what he said about January 6th. So I don't actually know where everyone's getting that he somehow was okay with it. I think in regards to the athlete protesting, I've spent the last year and a half hearing every argument possible and understanding why athletes protest in the United States of America, like Colin Kaepernick. The problem I have is this woman is doing this internationally, and if anyone just saw Vladimir Putin's recent speech when he met with President Biden, he's using the propaganda that America is an irredeemable against us, saying, you think your country's so great over there? Look at BLM. Look at everything that's happening in your country. You don't even treat your people correctly. At the same time where he's literally imprisoning people, and we're having our enemies and propaganda dictators using our own propaganda against us, which in turn turns into a real national security risk. My other problem with this is I don't understand why we all can't have shared experiences in this space or have our own stories, because for some reason my relationship with the flag isn't allowed anymore. My love of the American flag, my love of the national anthem. And I know that it's very triggering for people, and people get very upset when I talk about my dad for whatever reason, which is why I've really stopped doing it on the show unless it's really meaningful to me. But when I was growing up, every year on Christmas, he would tell me a story about when he was in prison being tortured, and his cellmate, a man named Mike Christian, had sewn the American flag using scraps of material he found in prison into his prison garden. Every morning they would say the Pledge of Allegiance to what was sewn into his prison garb. One day, the Vietnamese captors found that and beat the living crap out of Mike Christian to the point that his eyes and his body was so badly injured that he could barely move. And the second that he was able to move again, do you want to know the first thing Mike Christian started doing? He started re-sewing the American flag into his prison garb so his cellmates could say the Pledge of Allegiance and remember what they were doing and what they were fighting for in prison for America. So excuse me if I don't think some of these athletes are representing America in the same way. And for some of us, I will die for this. I will die on this hill that it is not appropriate or patriotic to go to a foreign country where you're supposed to be representing America and act like it's just about you. It's not about you. It's about all of us.
But first, a huge sign of disrespect for our country during the Olympic track and field trials. Gwen Berry placed 3rd in the hammer throw yesterday. And as the national anthem began to play with the winners at the podium, Berry turned away from the flag so she was facing the stands. Then, toward the end of the anthem, she pulled up a black T-shirt with the words "activist athlete" on the front and covered her head. Berry saying, quote, "I feel like it was a setup and they did it on purpose. I was pissed, to be honest. They had enough opportunities to play the national anthem before we got up there. It was real disrespectful." Now, according to the Associated Press, the national anthem has been played every night for the past week at the track and field trials, but the anthem is not played during medal ceremonies like it is during the Olympics. A USA track and field spokeswoman saying, quote, "The national anthem was scheduled to play at 5:20 p.m. We didn't wait until the athletes were on the podium for the hammer throw awards. The national anthem is played every day according to a previously published schedule." Here we go again with protest. And guys, it's very interesting. For the record, Gwen Berry is up there. She gets upset about it. Now, it's played every day around 5:20. It was 5 minutes late. It looks like 5:25. She gets mad. She turns her back on the national anthem to be accurate about her past. She is an activist. 2 years ago, in 2019, at the Pan American Games, she raised her fist, which was first done in 1968 by 2 American runners, John Carlos and Tommie Smith. And there was a sanctioning for it because the Olympics put in a rule that says you can't protest during the podium or the opening and closing ceremonies. This certainly suggests what she may do if she makes it to Tokyo. I'll start with you, Emily. What are your thoughts?
Oh, Griff, I feel like this is a classic example of, like, it's not about you, girl. Like, she comes out and says, oh, they're clearly playing the anthem because I was there. It was a setup. It was so disrespectful. They knew it was all about me. I just feel like telling her the anthem is so much bigger than you, and the U.S. Olympic trials is so much bigger than you. So she can do what she wants, but there's going to be accountability. And here's the thing, you guys. Remember that while the U.S. Olympic Committee has promised not to sanction any athlete that does demonstrate at the podium there or in the Paralympic Games, the International Olympic Committee, to your point, Griff, still will maintain upholding that rule that prohibits demonstration. So if she gets on the podium in Tokyo and if she chooses to demonstrate again, then she might be facing a global backlash for that.
Hammer thrower Gwen Berry sparking furious uproar for turning her back on the American flag during a medal ceremony at the U.S. track and field trials. She then covered her head with a t-shirt that said activist athlete. Berry claims organizers should have played it before she got on the podium and that she was the victim of a setup. She says the anthem does not speak for her and that she represents people killed by systemic racism. And Berry is defiant and is refusing to back away from what she did, and the White House is backing the athlete.
But I know he's incredibly proud to be an American and has great respect for the anthem and all that it represents, especially for our men and women serving in uniform all around the world. He would also say, of course, that part of that pride in our country means recognizing there are moments where we are, as a country, haven't lived up to our highest ideals. And it means respecting the right of people granted to them in the Constitution to peacefully protest.
So, Jesse, the question from Peter Ducey was not about whether she had the right to do what she did. It was whether it was appropriate given her position as someone who wants to represent Team USA at the Olympics.
What are
the
they
difference?
They call that a layup, right, Dana? She tried to both sides, disrespecting the anthem. If I was on the committee for the Olympic squad, I would sanction her not for the display of disrespect. I would do it for poor sportsmanship. She was third.
Right.
Yeah, the other two women who had the gold and the silver, that was their moment. And that was the country's moment to reflect on a great event. And instead, she poisoned the chemistry of the female track and field squad, and she made it all about herself. She drew attention from them and from the country to herself, and it was negative attention. No one's talking about systemic racism after we see this. We are talking about her and the disrespect and the probable, I don't think she knows that much about what she was doing up there. She doesn't have a long record of writings with regard to systemic racism in this country. It was a symbolic act that was vacuous, in my opinion. Hammer throwing is a beautiful sport.
It is.
I dialed in on YouTube today, Gutfeld, and I was there for at least 40 minutes. It is graceful, there's power, there's precision and timing, and she just took it from a positive and made it a negative. If this country is so racist, why do you want to represent a racist country to the world?
Yeah.
And why do you want to reap the benefits of this racist country and then get up there, place third, and then spit in our face? She can throw hammers. I'll change the channel. Click when she's on ever again. And I think the rest of the country feels the same way. It's just another event that liberals ruin.